Dyslexia and reading comprehension disorder, understanding and supporting your child through the struggles. Welcome, parents, to today's discussion. Together, we'll explore an important topic: the challenges some children face in learning to read, a foundational skill for all academic subjects and for life itself. Many parents wonder why their child struggles with books and words. Sometimes, these challenges are not immediately obvious, especially when the child is still young or the learning material is relatively simple. This article aims to give parents a comprehensive overview of common reading difficulties, how to recognize them early, the importance of professional diagnosis, and most importantly, practical strategies for lovingly supporting your child through these hurdles. Remember, if your child struggles with reading, it is not because they are lazy or less intelligent, but because their brain processes information in a different way. With love, patience, and the right approach, your child can grow, thrive, and succeed. Key points parents should know. Before we dive into the details, let's take a quick look at the most important points we'll explore in this article. There are various types of reading difficulties. Two of the most common are reading comprehension disorder, RCD, and dyslexia, which affect reading abilities in different ways. These difficulties show specific signs, both in school and daily life, that parents can learn to identify. Professional diagnosis is crucial to clearly understand the issue and develop appropriate intervention strategies. Parents should seek this support as early as possible. Reading difficulties not only affect academic performance but can also deeply impact a child's mental health, self-esteem, and social skills. Supporting a child requires cooperation between the family, school, and professionals. This includes specialized teaching methods, adapting the learning environment, and especially providing emotional support for the child. Now, let's explore each of these points in detail to better understand children's reading challenges. What are reading difficulties? Differentiating between reading comprehension disorder and dyslexia. Dear parents, to begin the journey of understanding your child, let's first look at what reading difficulties really are. You may have heard of dyslexia, but in reality, there are several learning disorders related to reading. The two common ones we'll discuss today are reading comprehension disorder, RCD, and dyslexia. Reading comprehension disorder, RCD. Sometimes, a child can read fluently, pronouncing words correctly, but has difficulty grasping the meaning of what they've just read. It's like reading a book in a foreign language and not understanding the content. This is RCD. Children with this disorder may struggle to identify main ideas, remember key details, or connect ideas within a text. This greatly affects subjects that require reading and textual analysis, such as literature, history, and science. Dyslexia. This is a more common learning disorder, related to how the brain processes written language. Children with dyslexia have difficulty decoding words, that is, connecting the letters they see to their corresponding sounds. They may struggle with phonics, spelling, or reading new words. Sometimes, they reverse the order of letters or numbers when reading or writing. It's important to remember that dyslexia has nothing to do with intelligence. Children with dyslexia are just as smart and capable of learning. They simply need different approaches to process language. It's estimated that 1 in 5 children has dyslexia, making it the most common learning disorder, accounting for 80 to 90% of all learning disabilities. Understanding the difference between these two helps us identify your child's challenges more accurately. However, both types bring significant challenges to learning and daily life. Signs your child may be struggling with reading. So how can you tell if your child might be facing these challenges? There are several signs that parents can notice, and some may appear quite early, even before school age. Let's take a closer look. Early signs may appear before school age. Delayed speech development compared to peers. difficulty learning even simple sounds, e.g., oa, o, trouble following instructions, especially multi-step ones, tendency to repeat or omit short words when speaking, like, and, with, of, difficulty distinguishing left from right. School-age signs, especially noticeable from grades 1 to 3. Related to decoding words, commonly seen in dyslexia. Struggles to sound out new words or break them into syllables. Reading speed is noticeably slower and less fluent than peers. Reverses letters or numbers while reading. 5. Becomes evif, or writing. B. Becomes d. Difficulty with phonics and connecting letters to sounds. Frequent stuttering or misspelling even common words. Often spelling by sound rather than spelling rules. Struggles with copying from the board or taking notes. Related to reading comprehension, commonly seen in RCD. Difficulty recognizing words. A basic skill in reading. Trouble identifying the main ideas in a passage. Difficulty remembering key details from what was read. General behavioral signs. Frequently feels frustrated, upset, or exhausted when asked to read. Tends to read aloud very quietly or avoid reading in front of others. Signs in daily activities, not just in school. Difficulty recognizing familiar logos or traffic signs. Struggles to learn the rules of a new game. Trouble following multi-step instructions. Difficulty telling time on an analog clock. Especially struggles when learning a second language. If you notice several of these signs in your child, don't panic or jump to conclusions. Instead, consider this a signal to explore further and seek professional support. The importance of professional diagnosis and when to seek it. Recognizing the signs is an important first step. But to truly understand your child's situation, including what kind of difficulty they have and how severe it is, a professional diagnosis is essential. So when and how should you seek this help? While some children show early signs, an official diagnosis usually becomes clearer and more feasible once the child begins formal reading instruction in school. Experts often recommend formal evaluation around age 6, typically in grade 1 or 2 when reading expectations are more established. And any gap between the child's ability and school requirements becomes more apparent. Some schools may suggest waiting until grade 3 for assessment. But many top professionals emphasize the importance of early intervention. If your child seems intelligent but significantly behind peers in reading by grade 1, or shows several of the signs mentioned above, it's best to seek expert support as soon as possible. Early intervention helps not only with academic progress but also with protecting and nurturing your child's self-image, something that can be deeply affected by repeated struggles and comparisons. Who should parents turn to for diagnosis? You can start by contacting your child's school principal or counselor. They may provide information about in-school support services, if available, or refer you to external specialists. Parents have every right to request this evaluation through the school. You can also approach professionals such as pediatricians, child psychiatrists, child psychologists, or speech-language therapists, through assessments of intellectual ability, reading skills, observations, and analysis of your child's work. These experts can provide an accurate diagnosis and specific recommendations for school and home support. Don't hesitate to seek this help. It lays the foundation for a strong support plan. Unfortunately, in the past, many children, and even adults, were never properly identified or diagnosed. Today, awareness has improved significantly, and even middle or high school students who recognize the signs in themselves can still seek evaluation and intervention. It is never too late to understand and support your child. The profound impact of reading difficulties on children. Reading difficulties affect much more than just academic performance. They deeply influence a child's inner world and social relationships. Let's take a closer look to better understand what children with reading challenges are going through. Reading is a foundational skill. a key that unlocks access to knowledge across nearly every subject. Naturally, when a child struggles to read, they face significant disadvantages in learning. They may have to work much harder than their peers to complete schoolwork, which can leave them feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. Academic underachievement often becomes inevitable, but the impact goes far beyond academics. Children who struggle with reading, especially those who remain undiagnosed, often suffer from low self-esteem. They may feel not good enough, not as smart as others, or even believe something is wrong with them. These children are frequently accused of being lazy or not trying hard enough, when in fact they are putting in far more effort just to keep up. This can deeply damage their self-confidence and motivation to learn. Over time, they may become discouraged, confused, and start to avoid reading and related activities. Persistent negative emotions can lead to anxiety or even depression in some cases. Reading difficulties can also affect social skills. For example, a child might struggle to understand the rules of a game or have trouble keeping up in complex group discussions, leading to feelings of isolation and difficulty fitting in. This dissatisfaction with themselves can further impact how they interact with peers. Because of these far-reaching effects, it is crucial for parents to be understanding, non-judgmental, and proactive in supporting their children. Helping your child. Effective support strategies. Once we understand what our child is going through, the most important thing is to become a reliable and compassionate companion on their journey. Here are some practical ways parents, teachers, and professionals can support children with reading difficulties and help them develop the skills they need to grow and thrive. 1. Specialized educational strategies and learning methods. Multisensory instruction, endorsed by the International Dyslexia Association, IDA. This approach involves engaging multiple senses beyond just sight and hearing. Children might trace letters with their fingers, write in sand, touch, move their bodies to form letter shapes, movement, or even use smell and taste, depending on the strategy, to absorb and process information more effectively. This strengthens neural connections and boosts memory and understanding. Phonics and decoding skills. Teach children the relationships between letters and sounds, how to blend sounds into words, and how to break words into smaller syllables for easier reading. Sight words practice. Help your child quickly recognize high-frequency words, e.g., the, and, of, without needing to decode them. Reading comprehension strategies. For children with reading comprehension disorder, focus on skills like identifying the main idea, summarizing paragraphs using visual organizers, reading in short sections instead of all at once, and building vocabulary and oral language, including figurative language and listening skills, to enhance overall understanding of both spoken and written language. Repetition and skill review. Regular review and reinforcement of learned skills are essential. Specialized educational intervention. Many children with reading difficulties benefit from personalized educational programs tailored to their strengths and weaknesses. Based on professional diagnosis, early intervention is especially important. However, it's worth noting that traditional tutoring may not be effective, and can even be counterproductive, if it's not tailored to a child with reading difficulties. What matters most is making reading a positive experience. Celebrate small victories, praise effort, and avoid constant error correction. 2. Support at school. What can be provided? Children with reading challenges are often eligible for accommodations that help them learn more effectively. These adaptations don't lower standards, they level the playing field so the child can demonstrate their knowledge and abilities without being hindered by their reading struggles. Common accommodations include extra time on tests, a quieter setting for taking exams, permission to record lectures instead of writing notes, the option to give verbal responses instead of written ones, when appropriate. Exemption from reading aloud in front of the class, to reduce stress and embarrassment. In some severe cases, exemption from foreign language classes may be considered, as they require complex language processing skills. These accommodations are often part of an individualized education plan, IEP, developed based on diagnostic results in collaboration with the family, school, and specialists. 3. Support at home. What can parents do? In addition to educational strategies and school accommodations, parents can play a vital role in daily life. Encourage your child's strengths. Build confidence by supporting your child's interests and talents, whether in sports, music, art, or any hobby they love. This helps them see their worth and abilities in other areas. Share stories of successful people with dyslexia. Talk to your child about famous and accomplished individuals who were diagnosed with dyslexia, like Whoopi Goldberg, Steven Spielberg, or Albert Einstein. This helps them understand that reading difficulties don't define their intelligence or limit their potential. Use assistive tools. Encourage the use of audiobooks instead of only print books. Let your child type on a computer or tablet instead of writing by hand if handwriting is a challenge. Explore fun learning apps that turn decoding into a game. Use line guides or reading rulers to help focus on text. Preview reading material at home. If a school assignment involves reading, help your child preview it at home so they can get familiar with the content and vocabulary in advance. 4. Emotional support. The heart of the journey. Reading difficulties often bring a wave of negative emotions, frustration, confusion, fear, and self-doubt. Emotional support from parents is the bedrock that helps children cope and stay resilient. Name the problem clearly. Talk openly and gently with your child about their challenges. Explain why they find it hard to read certain words or understand texts. Naming the issue, such as, "You're having difficulty because of dyslexia, reading comprehension disorder," helps children realize they're not stupid, they simply process information differently. And they can learn strategies to manage it. Praise effort, not just results. Always recognize and celebrate your child's hard work, even if they still make mistakes. Instead of only focusing on how well they read, say, "I know this reading was tough. I'm so proud of how hard you tried." Highlight their strengths. Remind them of the things they do well and the talents they have. "You showed amazing teamwork and spirit in the soccer game yesterday. That goal you scored was fantastic." Challenge negative self-talk. If your child says things like, "I'm stupid," or "I can't do this," don't ignore it. Gently help them recognize they're being too hard on themselves and encourage them to treat themselves with more kindness. Final thoughts. Dear parents, walking with your child through reading difficulties is a long journey that demands patience, empathy, and unconditional love. Always remember, struggling to read does not define your child's worth or intelligence. By recognizing the signs early, seeking professional assessment and intervention, and, most importantly, creating a nurturing and supportive environment both at school and at home, we are equipping our children with the tools and confidence to not only improve their reading but to thrive in all areas of life. Let's be their steadfast companions, their solid support, on this challenging yet hope-filled journey.